Shalom, Israel. This is ISUPK under Command and General Yohana. This is we've been we've been in the truth since 1969. Telling the truth to our brothers and sisters all over this country and even overseas, everywhere. We've been everywhere spreading this truth. This is the ISUPK under Command and General Yohana. Uh, and that's all we do. This is Officer my thumb yard about to give you about to teach the ISUPK Trenton Brotherhood class. All right, this is Brotherhood class, and today's topic will be separation. Be separate, and that's one of the major things that we must do. That we must, get a mindset of as a nation. As a nation, blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, we must first, recognize that we are the same people. We're the same people with the same common enemy, went through the same destruction, same, the same, we in the same, we were like under the same victim. We're the same victims of the same enemy, went through the same type of, wrong end of the stick of the conquest that these devils done, inflicted and pursued on us. You know what I mean? We're the bottom of society, and it's crazy. Like this is Babylon all over again. This is ancient Babylon all over again. You know what I mean? You know, and it's crazy. People think it's a beautiful thing. Like everybody in a melting pot. Everybody in a melting pot, and things would be totally better. Everything would be 100 times better. Than it was back in the 50s for the so-called Negro. Think that a melting pot would be better than us living in the time of Harlem, New York, back in what the 1930s. Nah, we was living way better back then because we were separated. We were separated. So, what we need to do is find what was working for us and what's not working for us, and stick to it and realize and examine what worked for us. We need to examine, what worked for us and not like, and examine what went against us as well. If we're gonna look at things, we gotta look at things as a whole. You know what I'm talking about? So that's what we have to do. That's what we must do. And we talking about separation today, meaning the biblical word for that, rather say like holy, meaning holy. Holy means separation, separate, to be set apart or to be separate. That's what the word holy means. It doesn't mean to be whatever the Christian church will like to say that it means, or however the Christian church would like to use it. It's not. It's not that whatsoever. It's holy means to be separate or set apart, and it's not to be sanctified like the Christian church likes to tell you, or likes how it likes to use that word. Holy is to mean to be separate or be set apart. I can't say it no any I could repeat it all day because they use it so much in the wrong context. They mess a lot of things up regarding the Bible. They mess a lot of everything. They mess a lot of things up. So we just gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. Now, being separation is so important. Separation is like something that every nation, every nation does. Every nation has this in their, their toolbox as far as staying afloat as a nation. They, every nation has separation in their toolbox. Separation is needed to be to to for the nation to stand up, to for a nation to thrive, for a nation to prosper. You need separation. Separation is key, and especially for the so-called Israelites. I mean, for the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Separation is key for us, and if you look at every other nation, it works for them. It works for them so well. It works for them so well. You know what I mean? So how come? All right, you take a look at them and like, it works so good for them. You don't ever think like, all right, if you even give a damn about your nation, do you ever look at it saying, well, it works for them. Can it work for me and mine? Can it work for us? You know what I mean? Can we build a whole uh, big prosperous empire off of separation? It didn't work for everybody else. Why can't it work for me? It must work for me, and then we gotta think like we're gonna make it work for us. You know what I mean? That's how our mindset has to be in this place. This is how our mindset must be. You know what I mean? So separation. Let's let's examine separation real quick. Now, we all know we must, like, separate from our oppressors, from our enemies. We know we must separate. Now, we know we must separate, but we got to realize who is our people though. Who is we? I'm saying we must separate. We must separate. Who is we? All right. When I say we, I'm talking about the Israelites, the real Jews. I'm talking about the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel. That's who I'm talking about. And I'm saying we must separate. And who are these Israelites? Who are the Israelites? The Israelites are, the so-called, when you break it down from the all the 12 tribes, they are, to boil it down, they are the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans of today. That's who the true Israelites are. All right, the tribe of Judah, the so-called Negro that got brought over here into slavery, who and the tribe of Benjamin, the so-called West Indians, the people in the Caribbean islands. You know what I mean? Those would be the so-called tribe of Benjamin, the tribe of Levi, the tribe of Simeon, the people on the other half of that island, the other half of that island, the Dominican Republic, the people of the Dominican Republic, chose the so-called the Simeonites. You know what I mean? Tribe of Manasseh, or tribe of Ephraim, the so-called Puerto Rican, the people that was on the that was on the land of Richport, what the so-called devil would call that land. They'll call it the land, the rich port, and then call the people on that land Puerto Ricans. You know what I mean? Our brothers over there. The tribe of Manasseh, the Cubans, so-called Cubans. You know what I mean? And got all the other tribes. Gad, uh, which are the so-called North American Indians. Tribe of Reuben or Ra'ab in Hebrew, the Seminole Indians, Issachar, Yashikar in Hebrew, the Mexicans. Come on, like we got our I ain't name all the 12, but basically when you look at all the 12, they're basically from the blacks or Latinos and Native Americans. And if you there's many things like many books to look at regarding who the 12 tribes really are outside the Bible if you need that. But really this is the main source and this is all you really need. But there's books outside of this. You could look at books like From Babylon to Timbuktu. It goes into it. It's another book, Lost Tribes in the Promised Lands. That's an excellent book to read up on. You know what I mean? It breaks down how these tribes, the certain tribes, got, came and traveled over here. They came and traveled over here from the Assyrian captivity that they was in. You know, it breaks it all down. It's an excellent book to look at, but basically, we are the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And that's what I'm talking about when I say we. We need to separate from every other nation. We must separate, and that would be the best thing for us. We was better off separated than integrated. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? So once we do that, we'll see more progress. And we're doing a good job, and we're doing an excellent job in the ISUPK of separating. We don't allow no other nation into our nation. That's against the Most High, first and foremost. You know what I mean? That's against the Most High. We're not supposed to integrate with nobody. And we see the the effect of integration. We see the effect of this melting pot we in America. You know what I mean? We don't. This is the only place where you could see, like, I'll give you like a personal experience, right? Over at the train station of Trenton Transit, right? You have art. That's one place where you could see some rich people or way more fortunate people coming out of the train station, and then at the same time have homeless people waiting at the like sitting at the bus stop at the same time. You know what I mean? We have rich people coming out that live way down. I drove Lyft before. And took them people coming out Trenton Transit and taking them way out. Them people going deep into New Brunswick and all that. New Brunswick and Princeton, deep in those areas. You know what I mean? They going way far out. They real fortunate people, and them people coming right out the Trenton Transit. And right amongst them is the homeless people. Our brothers, our homeless brothers. You know what I mean? Way less fortunate brothers out there, victims of this country and the oppressor, the supremacy of the so-called oppressor in this country. You know what I mean? So uh, this is um, a separation is like key to Israel right now. This is vital, real vital for Israel right now. We must separate. If we don't separate, we're gonna be the ones on the bottom. Always gonna be the ones on the bottom of this society, and that's why the Most High said not to do it, because everybody would take advantage of the Lord's children, of the Lord's chosen people. Everybody will take advantage of us if we integrate, and that's all that's been happening to us since we've been in this captivity. You know what I'm talking about? Even like the Jim Crow laws. You know what I mean? They had us separate and all that. I say we worse off now because we blindly led into the slaughter now. You know what I'm talking about? Like, we'll integrate, and we kind of waking up to it now because certain recent things that's going on, that's been happening, kind of waking up to it, but we've been blindly thinking that we're gonna prosper once we move up in a oppressive society. Once we move up, we'll be, you know what I mean, we'll be good. Well, real fortunate. And it's a video that one of my brothers, shout out to Officer Kalatza, he put on his I seen on his story, you know what I mean, talking about, you know, the liberals and the communists talking about talking about well, dang man, or the communists saying this to the liberals. They're like, well, yeah, man, you let the minors and the minorities, talking about us, the Negroes, you let them come in and uh, have you give them jobs. You give them real good jobs too, city jobs, state jobs. And then, you know, they explain, the liberals come back and say, well, yeah, you don't understand. We got to let some of them come up. We got to let the smart of them come up in our society one way or another. Because if we let the smart and the wise in their nation, let them be in their community, they might rise up and have become enemies towards us. That's why they strategically sit in these rooms and put things together like that to make sure that we don't rise, to make sure we don't have any type of fight against the evil that's being done to us in this country. Now, all right, who are we as a people? We must go into who are we as a people. Well, when we're looking at separating, who are we? Who do we come from? Uh, what's our what's our rules? What's our national rules? Basically, what do we go by? What do we live by? You know, how should we live? What works for us? What doesn't? Now we can go in the scriptures and find that out. You know what I mean? Who are we? Well, first, what's our nation? Do we even have a nation? Who, like, shout out. Oh, Slocky, I can't even look. But yeah, shout out to everybody that's watching. Shout out to you. You know what I mean? Most High in Christ. But first off, we got to figure out who are we and what nation do we have, and do we even have a nation? How do we match up, or how do we fare against the other nations? Do we even, you know what I mean, have anything against these other like nations? Do we, you know what I mean, are we on the same level as far as like wisdom, morality, financially, generational wealth? Are we do we hold anything against them? Do we put up any type of fight against them? Do we have anything to stand on? No, we don't. That's the short answer. No. And we could go into it and break it all down. If you look at these other nations, right? You have the Chinese, you got who the which are the Moabites of the Bible. You got the Ammonites, which are the Japanese. You know what I mean? Just look at them two real quick. If you look at them two, they got stores all over the place in America. You know what I'm talking about? Like, shoot, Japanese got all types of restaurants in all the malls, all the major malls. They got their Japanese restaurants. You know what I mean? Even they restaurants where they make and cook food. Excuse the background, it's raining outside. But yeah, they got they got restaurants where they cook right in front of you and, you know, make a whole entertainment out of it, and we think it's so beautiful, right? But guess what? They have that, and they won't give us nothing. They won't give us any damn thing. We won't, and not that we need them to give us anything, but we won't even come together and realize that, you know what I mean, everybody got something for their own, but we don't have nothing for each other. That's the thing. Like, you know what I mean? The Japanese got their restaurants. Damn, let's not even talk about the Chinese. They got Chinatown. They got Chinatown, man. They got Chinatowns in all the major cities of America, man. They got Chinatowns everywhere. And what we need to realize is like, damn, all right, they got their communities, man. They got their communities where they take our money. They they grab all our money, put it together, and put it straight to their communities. You know what I mean? They got the mindset of taking care of their own people. They got the mindset of putting my people first. They got the separation mindset, which is healthy, and you know what I mean, which we need to do. We need to examine like what are they doing that we're not doing, and that's one of the things we're not doing. We're not putting ourselves first. You know what I mean? Shoot, we giving them like what? I forget the last time I heard. Last time I checked, it was $10,000 a week. $10,000 a week. We support all their restaurants and all that. $10,000 a week, black people. That's what we do. But we don't show no type of support for each other. We don't show any type of love towards each other. We got to learn to put each other first. We must put each other first, man. That's the thing, you know what I mean? But basically, what I was saying, who are we as a people? Who are we? We're the Israelites, right? And these other nations, we was going into how these other nations put themselves first, and we was starting out with the Japanese and the Chinese, which are the Moabites and the Ammonites, according to the scriptures, right? That's their biblical name, right? And shout out to everybody that's watching, Most High Christ. But you know what I mean? We can go into other people. In Trenton, New Jersey, that's around like North Trenton, going into Lawrence Township. You know what I mean? They got the Polish live in a certain area. You know what I mean? Where they put each other first. They got all the stores in a certain area. They got liquor Polish liquor stores, Polish banks, and things like that. You know what I mean? That we don't think about getting. You know what I mean? We got, and guess what? Well, we got to go in your stores and serve you, and you know what I mean. Make sure you're living prosperous. You know what I mean? No matter how they looking, people could say, one might say that they're well, shoot, they living in the same type of condition, but realize this, like no matter who, you know what I mean, they could live in Trenton, New Jersey, in a certain section of Trenton. They're always better off because they got their own people to fall back on. This is their empire. This is their empire. They could do whatever the hell they want. They got banks. They could put their people on, man. They could put their people on. We can't do that. We can't say the same for ourselves, right? So, uh, you know what I mean? Even let's look at some other nations. You know, we got some like African stores. You know what I mean? In restaurants and certain restaurants that they put in our neighborhoods. Why do we ever? And that's another question. Like, you know what I mean? It's nothing wrong with y'all setting up restaurants or nothing like that. It's nothing wrong with you putting restaurants up. Why you gotta put it in my neighborhood? Why you gotta put it in around my house? I mean, you gotta put it around the corner from my house and from my people, from my neighbors and all that. Why don't you just, you know what I mean, put it in your neighborhood so your people could support you, you know what I mean? But no, you must put it in our neighborhood because they all want to keep us down. They all want us to be on the bottom, man. And that's how we'll end up, man. We gotta think like that, we gotta think like that in this captivity. We don't even realize, like, blacks and Latinos and Americans, we don't even realize that we're in captivity. We're in captivity, bro. We're not living a normal lifestyle. I know, because you think you free, you think you free to do anything that you want to do in America. That you could go and you can go out and you can go out to the mall if you wanted to. You can go out and get a car if you wanted to. You could work and stack up to get a house if you want to. Like, that doesn't make you a free man in this place. It doesn't make you free. Being free is, you know what I mean, going out and, yeah, I got you right here. Being free is going out and putting a bucket out or something out to what the scriptures called, going out and put a vessel out and collect rainwater, you know what I mean, and be able to take it in your home and do whatever you please with the water. That's being free. And in this country, we're not allowed to do that. In this empire, we're not allowed to go and take a vessel, take a bucket out and gather water up and drink from the water, or, you know, save the water up. We're not allowed to do that certain places here in America. Being free is being allowed to, or going out on your land and you know what I mean, gathering water up and, you know, doing whatever you please with it. In this place, we think that we're not in captivity. We think we're free. We're not free. We got to realize we're in captivity. And once we realize that, it was like, you know what I mean, we realize we can't do certain things here. And we got to realize, and we got to think, why is it that we can't do certain things here? Why we can't, so why is it a problem when we gather together and, you know what I mean, show unity to each other, show love to each other? Why is it a problem? Who are we as a people? Now, in this country, we're lost. Like, we don't even know who we are. Like I said, like, this is a big playground, America. We come here and do whatever. Like, our people think we can do whatever the hell we want in this place. We think we don't gotta fear God in this place, in this forsaken place. You know what I mean? This is the evil, wicked empire, and we feel like we don't have to have the fear of the Most High in us. When we don't have the fear of the Most High in us, what happens? All the, you know what I mean, we got to duck gunshots, or we got to, you know what I mean, we got to suffer racist police and all that, wanting to, you know what I mean, unalive us, or, you know, do us harm. We got to suffer different type of Jim Crow type laws or whatever like that. And not saying all of them, because one of them laws was like, hey, you can't come in here and join us. You can't come in this you can't come in this establishment that we have here. And meaning, like, separation is good, and we need to know, we need to use that tactic and put it in our arsenal. Once we do that, man, goddamn, no, man, we'll be real better off. We'll be way better off, man. Once we gotta use some of the tactics that they like to use on us and backfired it on them, because it's going to work. Because, you know what I mean, once we do that, they so dumb. You know what I mean? Once we do that, they don't realize what they do, because they try to stop us on every occasion. We was just out and we was just out giving food out to the homeless in Trenton, New Jersey, about a couple of days ago, Saturday, right? And, you know, we was doing it, and we in the midst of doing it. It's going real good. Everybody getting fed. Everybody's having a good time, you know what I mean? And police come up and ask, you got a permit? We continued to feed the people after that. He left and everything was good after that. But it's like, you know what I mean, it's always something want to put an interruption to the Lord's work. You know what I mean? So once we do certain things like that and realize, you know what I mean, we're God's chosen people and we need to act like it. We gotta show each other love that nobody else is gonna show you. And guess this again, check this out. In the ISUPK, we are gonna we have the highest level of brotherhood that you have ever seen. You're never going to see a brotherhood like the ISUPK. In ISUPK, we got like the highest level of brotherhood you are ever going to see in your life. We will put you before us in the school. I'll go broke before I see you starve or something, like, you know what I mean? It's things like that. You know, man. If we struggle and we lean on each other, that's how it's supposed to be. That's how the hell else we gonna grow? How else are we gonna survive? Now the people over there in Hawaii, right? Them Hawaiians over there, they just got their land burst up into flames, right? The Lord put spread fire and flames throughout that place, and it's burnt down to the ground. It's destroyed. It's, you know, I mean, they destroyed over there right now, right? And some of them Hawaiians over there, the native Hawaiians over there, you know what I mean? Because a lot of them that's over there are really oppressors, just over there trying to have a luxurious lifestyle over there in Hawaii. But some of the natives, for real, that's there, they don't want to accept, like, they got a brotherhood towards each other over there. They don't even want to accept Oprah Winfrey's money, her rich self. You know what I mean? All her money that they know that she has, right? They would decline. They declined her money and said, "No, we're going to build our city up from the bottom up." They said that they were going to raise the city up themselves from scratch. That's what they said they were going to do. And you know what I mean? You could do nothing but like, hey, that's what they supposed to do. They said they're gonna build that city up from scratch and deny Oprah Winfrey's money. Now that's the same type of integrity that we must have as a nation. Talking about Israel, we must have that same type of zeal to build each other up. We have that same zeal to make sure that we are good, that we lean on one another, and that we're not tearing each other down. You know, I mean, we've seen too many of that. We've seen too much of that. We fell victims to a lot of the things that, you know what I mean, that's been pushed on us in this place. But it's time to recognize the times we in. Shoot, Romans 13 and 11, or 11 and 13, says something heavy. You know what I mean? I'll read it real quick. Y'all can read along with me. Romans uh Romans 13 and 11. 13 and 11 says, and that, oh, it's like Romans chapter 14, chapter 13, verse 11. And that, knowing the time, that now it is high time, you know what I mean? And that, knowing the time, we got to know the time that we in. We knowing that, you know what I mean, the world is, as we know it, is coming to an end. Like, the oppressive world as we know it is coming to an end. We got to realize the time that we in, if you even care about it, if you even pay attention to the times, you know what I mean? You see what Christ was talking about in Matthew, the 24th chapter, talking about um, the times, the end days, the sign of his coming, you know what I mean? The sign of his coming. You got to know, pay attention to that and realize the times that we're in. And I'll read on. So that that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than we believe. Like, that's one right there. Like, come on, we have to realize that, you know, and the time is near. Our salvation is near. Like, Christ is coming, man. Christ is coming, and when he comes, he's gonna bring a hellish destruction on these heathens, mainly the so-called Edomites. I mean, no, the so-called oppressor, our oppressor, the Edomites. Mainly him. He's gonna get the worst of this destruction, man. He's gonna receive it because of the violence he commit against his brother Jacob, man. Against Israel, he gonna see the worst end of the stick. The scriptures say he gonna get cut off forever. And damn, you gotta be a wicked bastard to be cut off for the Most High to want to cut you off forever. You gotta be a wicked bastard for that. Most High say he gonna cut you off forever. And shoot, if he said you deserve it. So, all right. So yeah, who are we as a people? I'm gonna go to Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2, and y'all can meet me there. Read along. All right, because it's crazy, man. Hold on. Right. Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2. Judah mourneth. Now, the word, all right, so black people, blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are the real Jews of the Bible. You know what I mean? And the word Judah, and at one point in time, Judah, the Jews were like, at one point in time, was just recognized as the so-called Judites and some of Benjamin and Levi, you know what I mean, the fellows and all that. But right here, you know what I mean, it says, and Jew is short for Judah. Jew is short for Judah, you know what I mean? The Jews are black, I'm trying to tell you. Now I'm gonna read on. I'm gonna read from the top actually. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. Now I said Jew is short for Judah, which means talking about the Jews. And I'll read it again. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. Meaning our leadership is like, you know what I mean, knocked down. Our gates are supposed to be protecting us. Our gates are supposed to be protecting us as a people. They're languished. They're thrown down. Our leadership is, you know what I mean, weak. Our leadership is very weak, and the scriptures say our the gates thereof language. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna read on, and you gotta pay close attention. It says, "Look, they are black unto the ground." Now, you know what I mean. When you dig up the dirt from the ground, what color are you gonna get? You're gonna get different derivatives of brown. You know what I mean? The scriptures just say, you know what I mean, that the Jews are black, and they're when you dig up the dirt in the ground, you're gonna get different derivatives of brown. Which means one thing too, which means one thing too, that people like to fight us on or try to debate us on, battle us on, which means that the so-called Jewish man over there in Jerusalem today, he is not the real Jew. In fact, he's a damn liar and a heathen. You know what I mean? That bunch of devils that are the synagogue of Satan that the scriptures talks about, that Christ called them. Christ called them the synagogue of Satan, right? So I ain't gonna get too off topic, right? But just we going over. So we talking about separation. We gotta realize, like, who are we as a people? The scriptures just said in Jeremiah chapter 14 and verse 2 said, like, you know what I mean, that the Jews are black unto the ground. All right, that's what it said right there. Now I can get another scripture, like, you know what I mean. There's like a lot of things that this Bible exposes that your Christian preacher ain't never gonna go into. Your Christian preacher is never gonna go in certain scriptures that we're gonna bring out to you in ISUPK. All right. Like, excuse me. So certain things like, Israel, where the so-called Latinos, Negroes, West Indians, Levi, Haitians, all that, Native Americans, we suffer these things called, racial slurs, or surnames that they like to give us, different bywords, all that. They called us nigger, coons, this, that, and the other. They called us all these things, right? What if I could tell you they called us that in the Bible as well? Them so-called Edomites, them our oppressors, they called us nigger in the Bible. In the Bible, they called us nigger. And I could pull it. I'll pull it for you. Now, y'all meet me at Acts chapter 13 and verse 1. Acts chapter 13, verse 1. We're going to get it for you. You got to realize who we are. We're going to separate. We got to know what nation we are. Everybody know who they are, and we got to know who we are, right? So this is one of the things right here. All right, I'm going to read Acts chapter 13, verse 1. Now, there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger. Now look, and I'll just complete the verse and I'll explain. And Lucius of Cyrene and Manaim, which had been brought up with Herod the tetrarch and Saul. Now look, this said they was called Niger. They was called Niger, man. The word Niger is Latin. It's Latin, and it comes from, it's Latin for the word nigger. Like nigger means derives from the word Niger. If you have a Webster's dictionary, you look it up. You know what I mean? The word nigger means black, and it derives from the word Niger. If you have a Webster's dictionary, you can look it up. They called him Niger. They called them brothers in there Niger. Now that's another thing. You know what I mean? Solid. These brothers in the scriptures, all of them. Solomon, he said, "Man, I'm black and comely. I'm black and which means beautiful, black and beautiful." Uh, Job, said his skin was black upon my skin is black upon me. You know what I mean? All these people in the scriptures, all these prophets were so-called Negroes or Hispanic or Native Americans. Like, you know what I mean? All these brothers was men of the Lord. And guess what? If they was black, Latinos, and Native Americans, and it was prophets, then that means, dude, damn, our bloodline comes from royal priests. We come from royal priests that must be like held on a higher standard, obviously, right? If we thinking about it, these were kings and all. These were kings, and you know what I mean, warriors in the scriptures. And you saying we come from the seed of those prophets? We come from the bloodline of them? That means we must be royalty and we must be the chosen people of God. So knowing that we got to have ourselves at a higher standard. And another thing, wait a minute, hold up. We the chosen people of God and we the so-called Israelites. Didn't it say that we supposed to be separate from everybody? Didn't it say in the scriptures that we must be separate? So why the hell are we gonna be trying to join in a melting pot with all these other nations, man? Knowing that you're gonna be on the bottom of society, knowing that you're gonna be on the bottom of everything. Like I said earlier, the Trenton Transit, like, you know what I mean, that's the same. That's a place where you could see rich people coming out of the Trenton Transit, So-called oppressors, well, our oppressors coming out of Trenton Transit, waiting for their rides, for their taxis or Ubers or whatnot, and then have our brothers, poor brothers on the side, in the same area, in the same circumference. Like, yeah, it's a melting pot, all right, but we at the bottom, man. We, like always, we gonna be at the bottom, and like, we're not gonna see no change. We ain't gonna see no change unless we realize, like, damn, my brothers and sisters are suffering at the bottom in the gutter, and these other people in the same country, in the same rich ass country, Slock, and in the same rich country, we're at the bottom and they're prospering. How is that? How is that? We need to realize, like, yo, let's take some of their tactics and use it back, like, have it backfire on them. Let's do that. Like, goddamn, like, how we can't keep suffering on the bottom. We gotta have some fight in us, man, to realize, like, yo, we gonna come up and we're gonna be strong, man. And that's what Shalom, Lord in Christ, man. Shalom, Yahweh Shalom, Shalom, Dah. You know what I mean? Shout out to Quatazar Karab, man. Uh, strong warrior in the truth. Now, uh, yeah, so we gotta realize, yo, like, we can't stay on the bottom of society. We gotta realize, like, yo, my brother is suffering. That means if I'm doing good and he's suffering, that's what Moses did. You know what Moses did? Moses was at the height, was at the he was living like real good actually. He was all right, so he was with Pharaoh and all them, right? He was at the top of society because one of Pharaoh's daughter brought him in as a baby. As a baby, she brought him in and took care of him, put him through the finest schools. He was smart. Growing up, he was into everything. Like, it even talks about this in briefly in Babylon and Timbuktu. Like, he was brought up through the finest schools in ancient Egypt, um, taken care of, taken good care of, and he was like, you gotta think he's right. He's like, he's living amongst the hierarchy of ancient Egypt, so he's gonna have the best of everything. And Moses was brought up, and he had like military wisdom and everything. So, you know, once he was at the top of society, and he was living at the top. He was like, you know what I mean, floating at the top. But he didn't forget about his brothers, though. He didn't forget about his brothers that was, you know what I mean, in the captivity of ancient Egypt. And we're gonna get into that later. We'll get into the ancient Egypt later on in the class, right? But okay. So we realize that we are the so-called Israelites of the Bible, right? We realize that we are the so-called Jews, and the scriptures say we must separate. So that's one thing right there. We must separate. And if we don't, the Most High is gonna deal with us, and he been dealing with us. No, man, he been dealing with us for a very long time because we've been going against him, against what he been telling us to do. We know we supposed to be we know we supposed to be separate unto separate and joint to the Most High, and not joint to the nation. We belong to Him. We don't belong to these nations, man. So, you know, I mean, we got to take a look at what's been working for us. Now, we know that. We got that off, right? We know to be the Israelites. We got our nation. We know what nation we come from as a people. What's some of the ways we get back to it? Separate, follow the laws that the Most High laid down for us in the first place. Once we follow them laws, we'll be strong and mighty again. Once we do that, we'll be strong and mighty. We'll have the strength to lead our nation into the right direction. All the laws as a whole, we got to keep them. We got to keep them, and separation is one of them laws, right? So we go to the next sect of the class. We know we're Israelites. Boom. Recognizing your enemies. We got to recognize, like, our who's our enemy in this hell, like in our condition today. Who are we under, and who are we serving? Who are we serving, man? We got to realize that as well. That's another big problem. Along with us thinking that we're not in any type of captivity, that we're good, we're not suffering. So like talking about, well, shoot, we're in captivity. Well, shoot, I'm not living bad. You know what I mean? I'm not living bad. My 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 family's not living bad. Correction, your family is living bad. You just talking about your household. You mean your household? Your household is like, you can't think selfishly. Can't think selfishly. Oh shoot, my household is doing good. You know what I mean? We're fine. You can't be like that, because listen, you might be good, but the mass majority of us, like our nation, is in hell. Our nation is in shambles. Your household you're talking about is in shambles, because you got your women running every damn thing in the household, and your children are seeing your women disrespect you, so they not respecting you. They're growing up to you know what I mean, just not respect you, not follow anything you say. They look at the mom and see how she treats you. They go out and then they go into schools and outside your household, getting the whole manner of evil and wickedness and a whole bunch of trouble outside your household. That, you know what I mean, it's just a damn mess, and that's some of the ways our community is in shambles right now, is in destruction. I was even talking. I even got into it a little bit on. You know what I mean. I went into the comment section on Instagram. It was this post where, and I'm sure people have seen it already, right? It was a post where the sister that all these sisters in our nation, mainly like the Judite sisters that they look up to, or they not look up to, not now. They don't look up to her now, but at one point the poor sisters were looking up to her because they seen where she came from, and then how she got her riches and all that, her recognition and all that stuff. You know what I mean? But they kind of related to her in a way. But this same sister, she this post said that she threw out her baby father, and that the kids she gave the kids to him, which was probably the better thing to do. And like, good thing that them kids are with the father, because goddamn, you can tell this sister don't got it all, right? So yeah, threw the baby father out. The children gave the children to the father, which probably was the best case scenario for that. And then it was another thing. And then moved the stud in the household. God damn, you moved the stud in the household and replacement of the baby father. Now that's mad backwards to me. I don't even get it, but you know what I mean, you can't put anything past this wicked place. I went in the comments section under that post because we need to battle one of these. I usually don't like the online battling thing, debating thing, but I realized we have to put our fight in the social media too, because that's where everybody's looking at. So gotta do what you gotta do. So I put in under the comment section, like, one of the this is for quote. This is what I said, quote, line for line. I said, one of the many reasons that the black household is in shambles, and that's a perfect comment to put, to, you know what I mean, because I know that's going to trigger people that's you know what I mean, trying to go contrary, that's trying to live the lifestyle that our oppressor has to offer for them. And you know what I mean, I got a lot of good responses from that. I had like a lot of sisters liked the comment, liked my comment, you know what I mean, and a couple brothers too. But I had one person, really probably don't even count for real, because it seemed like it was a fake account or something. It was like some fake account, to be honest. It seemed like that went under the post and said something like he said some garbage like how you gonna blame you can't blame, thinking like I'm blaming black women for our sisters for the for that problem or whatever. Like, I don't know what he thought. He's just trying to start an argument up, right? And I gave him what he wanted. You know what I mean? So he started putting his foot in his mouth. He put other comments under there, you know what I mean, dumb statements. And I just basically, no, yeah, this is what he said. This is what he said in response to that. He said, nah, the main reason is because, he says, because we have pedo uncles and dark secrets in the black community. Basically, he's trying to say that we have keeping secrets from people that like to abuse children and all that in the community. But I I told him in response to that, I was like, yo, first of all, I said one of the many reasons, not the main reason, but if we want to look at the main reason the black household is in shambles, we got to look at the root of the issue. We got to look at the main issue, the root of the black community being in shambles, which is not what he said. What he said was side effects to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is white supremacy. That's the root of the problem. Once we examine and attack that, once we attack that, you know what I mean, we could we can get to these our other issues would slow up, you know what I mean? Because once we realize white supremacy is our the root of the issue, meaning like we're gonna, like, they put certain things in effect, like they push to the forefront homosexuality. They push to the forefront um hey, sisters, dress like this, dress like that, say this in y'all rap song. Y'all noticed that they putting our sisters more in the main, like in the forefront for mainstream rap, mainstream hip hop. They put our sisters in the like they put our sisters in the forefront and tell them to say the most heinous things in their rap. Like, you know what I mean? It's a agenda behind this thing, man. It's not just just us acting crazy. This is not we're not in our normal state right now. We gotta realize this is not we're not living a normal lifestyle. We can, like, they push that in the forefront. Homosexuality, lesbianism, sisters dress like this. Where in your videos dress like this, and your rap songs say this, even the brothers, you know what I mean, rap about this, killing each other. And you know what I mean, the Jewish so-called Jewish man, he pushes that. And then, oh man, shout out to the officer in the car, right? He put a video out in one of his old classes. Not old classes, but like it was probably like a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, right? Where it was one of them Jewish men, one of them Jewish people behind the scenes that's like in the record labels, involved with the record labels, like one of the CEOs basically, right? And said like, well, and Charlemagne asked him, or one of them on the Breakfast Club asked him. He said, "Man, look, well, Shalom, Yabashima Shabakta, Shabar Zakia, man. So shout out to you." One of them asked this devil, right? He said, "Well, damn, verbatim, don't it ain't a quote, but you know what I mean." He said, basically was like, "Well, why are you see that the message that's being pushed out in these rap songs under these record labels, you know what I mean, are destructive to the community. So why have it be pushed so much like that, basically?" And the Jewish man was like, he said, "Man, look, And I couldn't believe he was bold enough to say it. He said, yeah, all right, yeah. He said, yeah, I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I don't like it. You know what I mean? I don't. He said, yeah, this is what he said verbatim. He said, I ain't gonna cuss though, but he said, I don't rock with that. I don't rock with that. Basically, right? And then in the next breath, basically he said, but shoot, I gotta eat too. My family gotta eat too. Damn. So listen, even our brothers and sisters trying to get record deals, right? Trying to get record deals and thinking that they got our best interests in heart because they offering us some so-called abundance of money. We getting abundance of money from them, right? And even them, they don't have your community's best interests at heart. Like, are we going into that trying to like on a selfish with a selfish heart, thinking like I'm gonna be good, I'm gonna have some riches, I'm gonna be good. But you're not realizing the things that they're gonna tell you to push out in your songs is gonna cause your community to self destruct. You know what I mean? Like I ain't even gonna talk about none of these. Like what's that? It's just like I don't even like keeping up because it pisses me off so much. Like I try not to even look at any of this, but I realize I got to force myself to watch some of these things so I could bring it out better. But you know that sister name, that dumbass song. I don't know her name, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. The one that's been popping for the past couple months, right? So that you know what I mean. And what's that other one? I know, I know. Uh, ISUPK put the thumbnail out with that brother. See, I don't keep up with mainstream like that, hip hop like that, but the brother holding two sisters like they dogs or something, holding them on leashes and all that. Them two sisters right there. God damn, they put the worst songs out, and guess what? They pushing it out and have our sisters in the community. Like, what our sisters gonna think about that? Like the ones that just don't have a mind state of being a leader and not a follower. You know what I mean? That just want to go with the trends. They're gonna echo what you're saying in your songs. And guess what? The Jewish man on the Breakfast Club said, he said, the CEO of the record labels, he was saying, man, my family got to eat too. I don't rock with it, but my family got to eat. See, now even he's selfish about his community. Even he puts his family first. He puts his family first. But we don't do none of that. We just want to get a record deal, make some money, and be whoremongers, and you know our sisters be whores. You know what I mean? Things like that. What we need to do is we need to wake up. Like we need to shake off. We need to wake out of that sleep we in, man. Because when we wake up out of that sleep, we realize like, yo, we shoot, we should have been got together. Realize we should have been did something with like yo with each other. We should have been got together and did something productive. But it's never too late, and it's never too late to come in the best place for you. That's the best form of brotherhood you are ever going to see in your life, or the best, you know what I mean, group of brothers doing the Lord's work. ISUPK is never too late to come in here. It's never too late to come in here. You know what I mean? We're going to show you the most brotherhood you ever seen in your life. And because we actually love you here instead of them Jewish people that you trying to make, or you making all the rap songs and all that. You're thinking that these record labels got your best interests at heart because you thinking they're going to offer you all this money. They're going to offer you all this money. You all in the pictures and all that with the CEO hugged up with the CEO, thinking like, yo, this my guy. He give me, you know, he give me good deals, this, that, and the other. And like, no, because then it'll come out. It'll come out eventually, like how I did on the Breakfast Club. So, yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it, but my family has to eat as well. Come on, come on, come on, and that's what we're doing right now. Recognizing who our enemies are. That dude that's giving you that contract, he's your enemy. He's your enemy, giving you that jacked up that jacked up contract. He's your enemy. That person, you know what I mean? That person smiling in your face, walking wherever you walking at on your day-to-day life, just smiling in your face and while you walking somewhere or whatever. He's your enemy. Uh that person that owns all the banks, that owns your, you know what I mean, that owns all the diamond district, you know what I mean? They're your enemy. They're your enemies, man. They're not, even if we're not even talking about our oppressors, right? Uh, the people that put them fucking slocky, that put them crown chickens and all that Prince chickens and everything in our neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Why you gotta put it in my neighborhood? Why you gotta put it? Why you gotta put it around the corner from my house? Why you gotta do that? Why don't you put it in your neighborhood? Why don't you put it around your mother's house and all that, where your community is at, and have your have your daughters and your sons and your aunts and nephews and nieces come support your business in your neighborhood. But you want to come and have us, you know what I mean? You want us to support you because you all in our neighborhoods with all the you in our neighborhoods with all your restaurants, all your crown chickens, all your princes, and everything like that. Chinese restaurants. So, I mean, come on, come on, and check this out: the Black and Hispanic and Native American woman cooks way better than anybody. Cooks way better than anybody you want to put against them. Black and Latina woman, excuse me, they cook better than anybody that you could think of cook something up. We cook better than all of them. How come we can't put something together and put it in our neighborhood, and they got to put it around the corner from my house? Africans, you know what I mean? Why are you, the African restaurants? They got some damn nerve. They want to put a African store, African restaurant down the street from our house, from around the corner from us, cooking up God knows what, cooking up God knows what in them restaurants, man. They thinking that they go, and they even try to take some of our things that we like to make and make it themselves. You know what I mean? Which goes to show that we're the best thing. We're the salt of the earth. We need to realize when we come together, we'll be way better. We got to recognize who our enemies are. Those are all our enemies. Anybody who's not us, who's not our nation, who's not coming out of our nation, who doesn't spring out of the 12 tribes of Israel, they're our enemy because, look, they're going to put themselves before us. They're going to put themselves before us. They're going to make sure that they good before us. You know what I mean? Everybody love Dunkin' Donuts and all that. The East Indians own all them Dunkin' Donuts, man. They running all them Dunkin' Donuts, man. Across the street from our camp spot in Trenton, New Jersey, North Broad Street, 40th and North, 40th and North and Broad, something like that. Right across the street from our campsite, the the Dunkin' Donuts over there, like his sister's working in there, his brother's working in there, but who's running that thing? Like the East Indians are running that thing. The people with the dots on their head that don't like showering but put the clean clothes on top of funk and all that. You know, they put clean. That's the thing I noticed about them. I was doing Lyft. I did Lyft around last year, around this time, like, and even before, like in the summer, when the summer first jumped off, right? I'm doing Lyft for that whole time period. And I'm going picking up some of these heathens, the East Indians, the people with the dot on their head, East Indians. Yo, you gotta beware. Like you gotta prep yourself before they come in your car, man. Because look, you gotta prep yourself before they come in your car. Because look, man, look. They dead, because look, I would watch them come out their crib and they have clean clothes. They got clean clothes on. I can see, but it's like, god damn, like when they come in the car, it's like, what happened? Like, god damn, they come in my car, and I'm like, oh hell no, let me crack these windows, let me open up the moon roof, let me crack all this thing. Like, come on, man, look, they are not us, and it's evident they're not us, and you know it's evident we shouldn't even be joining them because look, like, you, damn, they imagine what they hampers smell like. God. But anyway, look, let's get back on the topic. Like, we gotta recognize like who our enemies are. There are enemies we must separate. We must separate from our enemies, and we can go in the scriptures on that because we'll see what happened when we under these nations, just like how we under these oppressors here in this country. We'll see what happened when we under them. Let's see what happens. Exodus, Exodus first chapter. Go there. Y'all can beat me there. We'll start at verse 6. Exodus chapter 1 verse 6. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. So Joseph passed. He passed, right? And all the people from his generation passed. All his brothers from his generation, and everybody else from the generation passed. Verse 7. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. So, you know what I mean, Israel, like how we do, We, you know what I mean, we grow strong, you know what I mean? We grow strong. You know what I mean? We was being fruitful, we multiplied, we grew mighty in that land. We did our damn, like, you know what I mean? Shoot. We was good. We was doing real good. It said we increased abundantly and multiplied. Um Shoot, and it said we filled the land up. We filled the land. Like, so I'll read on. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. Now it was a new king in Egypt, a new pharaoh that rose up that didn't know Joseph. So now context, right? The king before the new one that just got risen up in the scripture, right? The other king, right? He had a rapport with Joseph. He had a certain type of he had a good rapport with Joseph. So you know what I mean? He was a yeah, Salaki. Uh so this old pharaoh, right, had a rapport with had a rapport with Joseph. Salaki. He had a rapport. All right, cool. Be cool. Salaki. Yeah, so this pharaoh from before the new one I got risen up had a good rapport with Joseph, and he allowed Israel to come in, the nation of Israel to come in the land, you know what I mean, and enjoy the fruits of the land, you know. So that's what happened with the old Pharaoh. But it was a new pharaoh that rose up. In the scriptures it said, verse 8, now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. Verse 9, so he didn't know Joseph. This one didn't know Joseph, and it's self-explanatory, right? So verse 9, and he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. He had a council with his people and said, yo, look, the Israelites, you know what I mean, they in here and they they becoming strong, man. They becoming big and mightier than we are. They becoming stronger and more powerful than us. You know what I mean? And I'll read on. It says, come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. Lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when they what's like it when there falleth out any war. Now I'll just read on. They join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them out the land. So look, like, you know what I mean. You said, man, look, we come, man. We got to deal wisely with these Israelites that's in the land, man. They coming stronger than us, mightier than us. They more powerful. You know what I mean. And they we got to deal wisely with them, because look, they could join one of our enemies if a war break out. Let a war break out. They could join our enemies and fight against us. We gotta deal wisely with them, man. They becoming too damn strong. You know, so I'll read on verse 11. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. He said they set over taskmasters against our people. Basically, like, you know what I mean, crooked police officers, you know what I mean, trying to abuse us and all that, putting crazy amount of bondage on us. Basically, I'll read on. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. So you got your pyramids. We built them pyramids. All them, like them pyramids that everybody hold up to a higher standard. And that's all ancient Egypt. That's all people. That's the first thing you think about when you think about ancient Egypt. If you don't know like the history about us being in slavery under them, you think about like, well, even if like, no, I don't gotta do that. Yeah, like, you know what I mean. That's the first thing that could pop in your head. Them pyramids. You see them pyramids representing ancient Egypt. We built this scriptures, like, you know, it says we built them all them treasure cities, and including them pyramids, and to which today is like tourist attractions for people to piss on all the skeletons, all the all the tombs, all the old tombs over there. That's what they use that for now. You know what I mean? Effing with the Lord's chosen people. You know what I mean? That's what you amount to at the end. You know what I mean? The Most High always wins at the end. Don't matter what. So that's what it said there. I'm reading on verse 12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. The more they afflicted us, the better we got. Basically, the same right there. Like, the better we got, the more they afflicted us. Not the, or for better words, basically, we can't say it no better than that. Really, you know what I mean. The more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. The more we grew, and as a people, we grow more abundantly after the more they afflicted us. And I'll read on. It says, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. They were grieved because of us, because we was coming so damn strong. The more they afflicted us, we was becoming more stronger. The more they was doing to us, the more wrong they was doing to us, and the Egyptians became grieved because of that. You know what I mean? And from Babylon to Timbuktu, it talks about how, the Egyptians have a time period of when we was doing good in their land. You know what I mean? It talks about it. And a brother named Rudolph Winsler. He did the research and all that. He did some good research for that book. You know what I mean? It explains how, the ancient Egyptians called that time period the great humiliation, where the time period where the Israelites were doing good in their land and we was prospering, like how the scriptures just said. Like this, the Bible ain't a fairy tale book. I keep trying to tell people this ain't a fairy tale book at all. Like these things, this is a history book. It's our composition. You know what I mean? It talks about that from Babylon to Timbuktu, like, the great humiliation. They hated us. They hated us being well off in the land. They felt embarrassed that we was doing good in their land. Like that, they called it the great humiliation for a reason. But I digress. I'll read on. I'll read on verse where I'm at. Okay. I'll just start at the middle of verse 12. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. Verse 13. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, serve hard bondage, hard slavery. Shoot, what you think the word Egypt means? The word Egypt means it's a Greek word for bondage. It's a Greek word for bondage. Like, you know what I mean? The Lord called this place bondage because it had the Lord's chosen people in slavery. In slavery. So the real name of I'll top it off with that. Like the real name of the land is Mizraim. Mizraim, or the you know what I mean? The whole Hamite land over there is the land of Ham. But you talking about that specific um geographical place right there, land of Egypt, is really Mizraim, or in the Hebrew Matazarim. That's the name of that land. So I'll read on. You know what I mean? Verse 14. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick and in all manner of service in the field. Like they worked us to death. These stinking Africans, these stinking Egyptians. That's why we tell you in ISUPK, like we're not no stinking Hamites, man. We're not no Africans. They the ones that sold. You don't know they sold us into this hellhole we in right now. They sold us to our oppressors. They sold us. They gathered us up, and they sold us the Arabians. They financed the whole thing. They got the ships and all that to carry us over, in the so-called oppressors brought us over here and did the damage. You know what I mean? That's what happened. The transatlantic slave trade. Like that's what it was. That's what it was. Like gotta realize, man. All nations done wrong to us. All nations done wrong to us. All nations in some period in history done wrong to Israel, man. They all did it. All of them are enemies. Forget them. You know what I mean? All them nations, they not our people, and we must separate from them physically. We must separate from them financially. We must give them we in captivity, right? But when we going, y'all need to pile in the ISUPK. That's what you need to do. We need to pile in the ISUPK and realize this is the thing this is the one program that's going to work, which is the Lord's program. This is the only thing that's going to work and will work. And you must see it. Must have an ear to hear that. You know what I mean? So I'll read again. Verse 14. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. Rigor meaning like hard real hard work, real difficult hard work, bondage. That's what the word rigor means basically. They did that to us, man. They did that to us. Verse 15. Let me see. The kingdom spake to. No, 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 no. All right. So now let's see what they made us work all that difficult, hard bondage, right? So let's see what the new king that risen up that didn't know Joseph said to his midwives and all them. Like, let's see what he said after that. And the verse 15. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. Verse 16. And he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. So basically, like, they try to commit, all right, for lack of better words, right? Planned Parenthood, they put Planned Parenthood in effect all the way back in ancient Egypt. They try to abort us way back then. You know what I mean? There's nothing new under the sun. Yes, like, there's nothing new under the sun. You know what I mean? Planned Parenthood was in effect way back then. He said, man, they wanted our children to be killed. If I mean our sons to be killed or unalive, right? He wanted our sons to be killed, but the daughters to live. Basically, trying to commit mass genocide on us, making sure we don't bring no more. We don't keep. It stops our growth from being fruitful, basically, right? So that's one hell of a thing to do with to. That's one hell of a people to try to join yourself to. We can't people like this. We can't do that, man. We gotta be wise enough to be like, well, they surely don't give a damn about us. We cannot join ourselves to them. All right, and basically, you know, what I mean, that's what they did in ancient Egypt, man. They put hell on us in Egypt, man. They didn't give a damn about us. I can even go to Deuteronomy for more examples of recognizing who our enemies are, and regarding the separating from our enemies. We gotta recognize who they are. So another scripture for recognizing. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. You know what I mean? And it's a real heavy one right here, you know. I'll read Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Whoa, shoot, let me slow it down. Catch myself. Hold on. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt. Egypt, Greek, like I said before, like meaning it's a Greek word for bondage. That's what Egypt means. It's a Greek word. You know what I mean? So the Lord said He'll bring us into bondage again. And why He call it bondage? Because the land of Egypt, which was known for keeping the Israelites in bondage. That's what we say. He's gonna bring us into bondage again, and I'll read it again. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Salakia. All right. Yeah. I'll read on. By the way whereof I spake unto thee. Oh, let me slow it down. It just said with ships. It said with ships. Now, who else, right? Come on, like, if anybody know any type of history, I know they take it out the history books and all that. I know they're not trying to teach it no more, to our children no more. But who else was sold into slavery on by the way of ships other than the so-called blacks and Latinos? Who else? Nobody else. You know what I mean? Who else? Like the so-called Negro. You know what I mean? Shoot. Even the other tribes, the blacks even in the so-called Latinos in the 1492, like you know what I mean. The transatlantic slave trade started with the Latino tribes. It started with them. Like people forget that. Like you know what I mean. They need to stop separating. We trying to cause separation between ourselves, between our brothers, our own brothers, but we don't want to separate with the people we need to separate with. Blacks and Latinos are one. We're one, and anybody with a damn brain could see like we live in the same community, we live in the same hellhole, we got the same oppressor, we got the same common enemy. Wake up, we gotta wake up to that. But anyways, like 1492, like that that was hell. Shoot, who else was brought in to the uh, Trail of Tears? You know what I mean? I'll tell you, like, you know what I mean? Slocky. Slocky. This devil right here, right? This devil right here. That devil, Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson. He led what was called the Trail of Tears. Now the Trail of Tears was like a hell, basically like a. All right, so the Native Americans was our Native American brothers and sisters were leading the so-called Trail of Tears, which was like us building the infrastructure, the building this country, right? And it was like a whole line. It was like a trail. That's why they call it a trail. Like it was like a line of us. You know what I mean? And some of our brothers, they didn't have no disregard. They didn't regard the old, the women, the weak, or the babies, right? Just like the scriptures say, that's one of them curses in Deuteronomy, the 20th chapter. That's one of them curses. So that's how you know we the so-called Israelites. You know what I mean? But he took he took our brothers, right? And this is the case. Let me give you context behind it. Some of our women were pregnant, and some of our women gave birth while we on this Trail of Tears. You know what I mean? Some of them gave birth already. You know what I mean? Some of our women are older women, and you know what I mean. But regarding the pregnant women, right? We was slowing up the line. They was slowing up the line so much because they waddle in their stomach and all that. You know what I mean? It's a heavy burden. Now this devil right here, this devil that you know what I mean, y'all probably think is a good guy. You think he's all right. He took upon himself to snatch the baby out the womb, and dash him against the tree trunks. That's what he took upon himself to do. And that's the Trail of Tears for you, you know what I mean? Whole bunch of hellish situations like that. That's why we say, damn our oppressor, damn him and damn his country and his empire. And we separate him from him and we pray the Lord destroy this place because it's built on this town is this empire is built on blood, on bloodshed, man. And we know what the scriptures say about that. So that's what we talking about. We gotta recognize who our enemies are, and our oppressor is the so-called enemy. He is our enemy. And his sons and daughters are our enemies, man. Think about what they do. What they do. They own stolen land. They own stolen property. If they was really good people, they give our Native American brothers back their land. If they was real good people, you know what I mean. But hey, they ain't gonna do that. They ain't gonna do that ever. So I'm gonna read on. Actually, I'll read on. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And Oh yeah, so talking about the land of Israel, this place that I've spoken to you, I'm telling you about right now, land of Israel, our homeland, we'll never see it again. Well, we won't see it as a whole again until our king come back. But that's what he said right here. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, there shall see it no more. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies. Our enemies. Who is our enemies? Who were we sold to in the transatlantic slave trade? Like, who were we sold to as a people? So-called Caucasian race. You know, the so-called Caucasians. The Caucasian, the Caucasus Mountains, Georgia, Russia. We were sold unto them. Sold unto them, and the Bible just called them our enemies. The scriptures call them our enemies. They are our enemies, and we must realize who our enemies are. And these are the people we need to separate from. And it's a way of doing it. We're like, well, how are we going to separate? How are we going to separate and we under them in this in the captivity under them? I'll go into it, but hold on. I'll read on. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. We shall be sold unto our enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, meaning slave men and slave women, and no man shall buy us. Nobody shall come and save us. No nation of people shall save us. Them Africans that y'all love so much, they ain't send no army over here, no troops over here to come and save you out of your hell, black man. Black man, they ain't come over here. They ain't come over here and send troops over here from Ghana or Liberia or nowhere. They ain't send they men over here to come and rescue us out of this hell to fight our oppressors. They ain't do none of that. So goddamn, they're not us, and they don't even rock with you no way. You talk to one of them, they don't see themselves as children of slaves like us. They don't see themselves like they Negro. They're not. They're not. They're correct in that. Like, they're not us, and they got the right mind state. But the thing is, we need to get that mindset, and you know what I mean, backfired on them. Like I've been saying all class, backfired on them because they do it, but it's gonna be power. It's gonna be more powerful when we do it. You know what I mean? It's gonna be more effective when we do it. Because once we do it, we rule the planet at once we do it, right? So that's you know what I mean, something for you right there. And that was it on Sloggy. Sloggy. That was it on that. So I'm gonna go and go into some other stuff. Yeah, so we recognize who our enemy is, right? Our enemies, we went over them. We should know plain as day. Our enemies, anybody that's not our nation, they are our enemies, and we must separate from them. So everybody from our main oppressor, the so-called Caucasians, they are our main enemies. Enemy number one. You know what I mean? We've been enemies with them since the damn womb. Since the womb, we've been fighting against them. You know what I mean? Damn, we know we got to separate from them. All these other nations, Africans, don't matter what kind of African. I don't give a damn what kind of African it is. We got to separate from them. Boom. And so-called who else? Uh, the the so-called even the Japanese, the damn Hawaiians, even when nobody talk like, you know what I mean, even them, all these other nations, everybody, East Indians, all these other nations, we must separate from them. And how are we gonna separate? Like, you know what I mean? We gotta buy out these stores every time we buy something. We gotta every time like we the consumers in this place. So how are we gonna plan on separating? And we don't have a lot of We don't have a lot of places we can. Come on, we could do it. We gotta lean on each other. Look, first step is coming to ISUPK. That's number one, right? That's number one. Coming to ISUPK. This is brotherhood, the number one place for brotherhood on the planet, right? Coming to ISUPK, learn, and you. This is the only place where you gonna learn who you probably wouldn't even know who your enemies are without ISUPK, men of the Lord, bringing it out to you. Because if not for us, you'll learn from them Christian preachers that say to love everybody, to say that God loves everybody. So listen, come into ISUPK, learn your true identity, which I broke down to you in this class as well. You know what I mean? And all these other nations are our enemies. We're not supposed to be with any of them. And we separating in this place. And how we separate? Come to ISUPK, realize what's the real problem in our household, like white supremacy. White supremacy. All trickles down from there. We gotta realize the traps that they put for our people, for our children. We gotta realize these traps that they set for us. These certain traps, you won't even traps for a reason because you won't see them unless you got a trained eye for them, right? So one of these traps, right? Because you know what I mean, we fall for any of these traps. Now you might not think that they're a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a real big deal. I'm gonna go into the real separation of this place. You know what I mean? We're gonna go into it. One of them traps that they set for us, right, is following all the trends, all the things that's mainstream in this country that they push, in this empire that they push on us. All the mainstream things, like for once, right? For one, these holidays, don't you might think it's not a big deal. It's a very big deal. It's a real big deal. We celebrate these holidays, man. That's not of the Lord. We going to holidays like Christmas or Thanksgiving. What else? Halloween, Fourth of July. All these holidays. It's abundance amount of holidays. Like all these, we gotta pay attention to. And that's the thing. We separate from this place spiritually. Spiritually is meaning like your mind. Your mind gotta be separate from this place. Your mind. Your mind has to be separate. That's the way we're gonna really. That's the start. That's the way we're gonna really have a mindset as a nation, a strong mindset as a nation. Once we separate spiritually from this place, meaning mentally, anything that this country pushes out to us, for like to be like, man, try this out, try this out. You gotta pay close attention to it. Pay real close attention to it. Christmas, that's a pagan holiday that they push on us. That it specifically says in the scriptures for us not to uphold or take. Specifically said, and I'll go over it. You know I don't. I'll go over it right now. Jeremiah chapter 10. Jeremiah chapter 10 verse I'll start out at verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. This Lord talking to Israel. All right. Verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, meaning all these other nations that's not Israel, right? And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Don't be worried about or frightened or anything about the signs of heaven, meaning the different things like the thunder or lightning, and things like that. The Lord's trying to say that, right? And it says the heathens worry about that. We're not supposed to worry about it. Verse 30, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest. One cutteth a tree out of the forest. He cut a tree out of the forest. All right, now pay close attention. Salakia. The work of the hands of the worksman with the axe, cutting the tree down with the axe. Verse 4, they deck it with silver and gold. Deck the halls with boughs of holly. You know what I mean? That who deck the halls. It's verbatim, like Christmas, like, you know what I mean? Don't do it, man. It's not of the Lord. It just said, man, shoot. It's like verse 4. They deck it with silver and gold. What y'all do with them? What y'all do with them Christmas trees, man? Y'all set them up. Y'all set them up and deck on them. That's what the song is about. Deck the halls with boughs of holly. That's what that song's about. They get it from the scriptures, man. This place is so boldly wicked that you see why it got to be destroyed, man. Because they know what these scriptures are talking about. These people that run this country, that, you know what I mean, that make this, that not make it run, but it's people that actually that's sitting at the top of this country. The government knows these scriptures, man. They know it. They come up with these songs and all that. They talking about going against the scriptures. Deck the halls with boughs of holly, right? It just said, verse 4, they deck it with silver and gold. Like, so today y'all wouldn't do that, like put actual gold on it. But where it comes from is they will put gold, actual gold on it, and that's a no-no right there. That's a no-no right there. You making an idol out of a tree. You making the tree an idol. It's idol worship. Pagan as hell. You know what I mean? You are putting gold on the tree. That's what they would do back then. They'll put gold on it, gold and silver on it. That's where you get the damn star at the top of the Christmas tree and all that, and light and all the different lights and things around the Christmas tree. And what it say? It's slogging. I'll read on this more. There's more to it. They deck it with silver and gold. They fasten it with the nails and with hammers. Now, god damn, this place is wicked. Like, all right, so even today, you get a real Christmas tree, right? I mean, a real tree, and y'all put it in your household. Y'all would drill it in the thing that holds it up. Y'all drill it in. Y'all drill it in and make sure it stands up, just like the scripture says. You know what I mean? Y'all do the same pagan custom that the Lord told us not to do way back then. That's why we catching so much hell, man. We gotta stop that, man. You gotta stop that. Now, I'll read on this said, Salaki, that it move not. So, you know what I mean, putting nails in the bottom of the tree so it stays still and doesn't move, right? Verse 5, they are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. Neither also is it in them to do good. So, like, basically the Lord's saying these trees can't talk. They can't do anything. They not good for anything. They don't do anything. It doesn't have a life. It doesn't have a spirit on it. Like, it can't do anything. It can't do evil. It can't do good. You know what I mean? It's a tree. But y'all treating it like it's something special. Y'all dressing it up nigh unto idol worship. It's idol worship. Pagan holidays, man. Like, can't say it enough, because you got to understand this is not for you. And these are one of the traps that our oppressor puts on us as the dumb parents that pass it on to your children, and yeah, the children as well, because your dumb ass going you going to pass it on to your children. Come on, man. It's a damn problem, man. You gotta stop being weak and stop being so weak to come and do anything that this country wants you to do. That's what you need to do, right? Uh, that was Christmas right there. Boom, Christmas. Throw that in the damn garbage. Uh, Thanksgiving. That's another pagan holiday. Another pagan holiday, and a wicked ass holiday too. How the hell you gonna worship? How the hell you gonna worship? We can go into this more in depth in the next class too. Swag. Next class, we can go more in depth into it and more, detail, going more detail on these things. Probably can go in on these holidays in next class. We can start out with that. Talk about the traps. You know what I mean? But basically, what I'm trying to tell you is, we gotta separate ourselves from our oppressor. Once we do that, we'll be way better off. We'll see way better brotherhood between us as a nation. Let alone you coming into the ISUPK, right? Coming to the ISUPK, that's the real jump to a jump start to a real healthy brotherhood. That's a jump start to a healthy brotherhood. Once we do that, man, like the scriptures say, we'll rule the planet. We'll rule the whole planet, and everybody will end up serving us like it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? The world, the Lord made the world for, like, He made the earth for us to inherit and for us to be the lords of, meaning the controllers of the land. Like, we're supposed to be over everything on the land of the earth, under the Most High and Christ, under the Most High in Christ. So, like, that's it. Like, really, brotherhood class. This is it. You gotta. That's one of the ways to seeing a real healthy, strong, sturdy brotherhood is recognizing, is really separating from our oppressors, and realizing the things that goes into separating. Gotta recognize who we are as a people. Who are we? Gotta realize, like, we're not just some people with bywords as a name for us. We name by bywords and all that. We're not just that. We're not just some byword or nothing like that. We gotta realize we're a nation of people too. Just like Chinese got their nation of people and their land. The Japanese got their nation and their land. The so-called East Indians, they got their nation, their religion, and their way of life, their ideology. They got their businesses set up for them. You know what I mean? Um, Shoot, Polish people and certain too. Like, I don't even know where that came from, but like they know who they are. They know where they come from. You know what I mean? Shoot, all these nations, the Africans that y'all love, that Negroes love to say they come from them, derive from them. I'm gonna give you a quick little update on the things, right? Like, the Africans, they don't call themselves African. They say, "Man, I'm from Ghana. I'm from I'm from Liberia, or I'm Liberian. I'm from Nigeria. This, that, and the other." They say this, that. They know the point is they know where they're from. They know where they're from, and we don't know where we're from. As if you ask an average black man on the street, he doesn't know where he's from. So that's the difference between us and them. And the Lord said He made a difference between us and them Egyptians. He said He made a difference between us. So we're definitely not no Egyptians. We're definitely not Hamites at all. We're not Africans. And guess what? They got their land and they know where they come from. They know their history. They make sure their children know their history too before they come over here, or else they disown them. Things like that. You know what I mean? They That's what they do. And that's an integrity that they have that we as a nation of people are deprived from. We're deprived of that. You know what I mean? We don't have any of that at all. Any sense of morality, or like we don't give a damn. We come to the point we don't give a damn how our children think growing up. And the scriptures say, train up a child in the way he should go. Like, come on, like that's what the scriptures say. But we drive away from everything we supposed to be doing. And once, like, really, like once we just come back to the simple things, once we come back to just following what our Father in heaven said, we gonna really do some damage in this place. We do real damage, and it will be better and more effective when we do it than when the other nations do it. Because, like I said earlier, when we do it, when we realize we need to separate and stay with ourselves and stay selfish towards our people, it will be way more effective when we do it, because we'll rule the planet when we do it. And versus when they do it, we oppressed or whatever like that. We're actually going to rule the damn planet. We'll actually have them serving us when we do it, right? So we just gotta get back to that. I'm just wrapping it up here, tying loose ends. Yeah. So basically, that's the root. Recognizing who, and yeah, I was explaining just now who we are as a people, right? And another aspect of it, I was the latest thing I was actually not the latest, but one of the previous things I was going over as far as like separating. We got like also recognize who our enemies are, which I was going towards. Like we got to recognize all these people that we recognize are not do not have our best interests in heart. We gotta realize, like, you know what I mean, they don't have our best interests at heart, and we need to separate. We gotta recognize there are enemies actually, because really they're actually attacking us. Not physical attacking us, but they are placing restaurants in our neighborhoods all the time. That's an attack on us. That's an attack. So we gotta realize we gotta fight back, and we fight back by not supporting them. Find your local black restaurant somewhere, man. Support them. Make sure they, you know what I mean. You go out and give Chinese restaurants all your damn money for buying Chinese food and all that. Find your local black restaurant. You know, support them whenever you can. I know it's a little pricey, but damn, I know Negroes that buy Gucci shirts and all that, and buying the latest iPhones and all that, you know, all that garbage. But you gonna want to support your own. You know what I mean? Support. You know what I mean? Do that. That's another thing too. But we got also the more important thing: recognize who our enemies are and separate from them, from their way of life, from their ideologies, from their religions, whatever religions they want to put on us. You know what I mean? We gotta separate from all that garbage. That's the main thing. That is the main thing. Now look, we coming to the end of the class, right? So I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna wrap it up with ISUPK. Starting out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We've been all over the country, like I've been saying, like I will always say. We've been all over the country saving
waking blacks and Latinos and Native Americans up. We've been waking our people up, showing them that they are the true Jews of the Bible, God, which are God's chosen people, the real Israelites that the Bible talks about, and that the white man is the devil the Bible speaks of. That's what we've been saying all over the planet. You know what I mean? And this go mainstream. Let this go mainstream. You know what I'm talking about? So this is Officer Mathumyad, and I'm gonna wrap it up with that. And until next time, shalom. Yah Bashim Al Shabakata to the brothers, and Yahweh Shamar Al Thun Bashim Al Shah to the sisters. And the water, Most High Christ, shalom. See you next week.